Welcome to CLIC Connect. I'm your host, Greg Sullivan. We've got a new episode for you. We've got a returning guest, and we're going to talk about the Commercial Real Estate Lending Conference that is coming up next month. But we're also going to touch on some other tidbits of information on commercial lending. But before we start that, I would like to thank our production partners, our good friends at Red Roof Franchising and Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group. Looking for a new brand? Red Roof's a great alternative for you. They've got a soft brand boutique. They've got an extended stay brand. They've got the economy select service brands. Give them a call. Let them know that producer Danny and I sent you. They would love to hear from you. Matt Hostetler and his team at Red Roof are doing an outstanding job out there, and I think you're really going to enjoy working with them. Also, everybody knows right now your real estate transactions need to close on time. You need to hit those timelines throughout the life of the escrow. Call Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group, California. Besides handling all the commercial real estate that you could possibly imagine, they also launched a hotel practice within that group. So give their team leader a call, okay? You know, Lance Capel is a great guy. I've watched him build this team, and they're amazing. They will take on the brain damage so that you can concentrate and get your deal closed. Give them a call. They'd love to hear from you. And again, tell Lance that you heard about his company and his team from CLIC Connect and producer Danny and myself. With that done, I want to welcome my friend, my producer of the California Lodging Investment Conference. He also has his own company, the All-Star Group Events, and he's got a conference coming up. He's a commercial lender. He has been for decades. He's very knowledgeable. He's a great human being. He's a good friend, family to me, Mr. Arnie Garfinkel, founder of the All-Star Group Events and the Commercial Real Estate Lending Conference. Arnie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Craig. Good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you. It's been a little while. I mean, granted, we talk every day, but we haven't seen each other in a while.
That's true. That's true.
So, Arnie, for the audience that may not remember you from your last appearance, would you do me a favor and tell them about yourself, the All-Star Group Events, and the Commercial Real Estate Lending Conference, please?
Sure. I've been in the lending business for over 40 years. I've been doing this, started out as a residential lender, and then I started doing commercial lending many years ago. And I've been doing it closing in on 40 years, 39 years in commercial lending. And then we started, I used to speak at a lot of events, and I decided to start my own event back in 1995. So we're going on, 27, 28 years of doing conferences. We do 4 a year just on commercial real estate. And then I also produce yours, the CLIC conference. And I've just taken on another event that I'm going to be producing another 6 events a year as well. So I'm pretty busy doing events, but my heart goes to the Commercial Real Estate and Lending Conference.
Absolutely, as it should, my friend. Now, you started with just the one event in LA, and I met you, about 5 years into that?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, very early on, yeah.
So, and you were focused really more on LA. You and I started talking, and it's like, no, let's take it to Northern California. Let's go to San Diego. Let's do this and that. So you completely reinvented yourself. You moved the conference from City of Industry, Commerce, to, was it Universal Studios or Long Beach first?
Give you a little history. We started out by LAX at the Marriott at LAX. I knew the general manager there, and he put us up. It was a real short event. At the time, we only charged like $49, no food, nothing. And then we've grown to we've grown to 4 events. But yeah, when you were at the title company, you helped me promote it. And you said, I could see this going bigger. Why don't we go to Northern California?
Yeah.
And we did. And then all of a sudden we got bigger and bigger. And now we have 4 different events. The Southern California one, Northern California one. Then we do a half-day event down in San Diego, and we've added an online event last year. So those are the 4. But everything we've done with our events has always been to promote networking and getting business done, and very interactive. And I'll touch on that a little later when we get into the nuts and bolts of it.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the hallmarks with you is because you do these regional conferences throughout California, you've got your finger on the pulse of not only the commercial market, but also the lenders there. So you've got lenders that are based up in Northern California. You've got them that are based in Los Angeles, Orange County. You've also got them down in San Diego for your event down there. And then a few years ago, you created the LoanMakers Forum as part of your conferences. Would you tell the audience a little bit about that? Because I thought that was a brilliant move on your part and really adds to the event.
Well, after every event, I usually do a survey and I ask everybody, what they think we could do differently, what worked, what didn't. And one thing somebody came up with was like, we'd like to be able to ask the lenders on your panel some kind of loans they can do. And this was happening right around the time Shark Tank started, for those of you that are familiar with the Shark Tank TV show. And I started thinking, I'm going, well, we might be able to do something and change the panels. And one thing I've learned in the event industry is you've got to change. You've always got to do something different. And I decided, well, we're going to kind of make this Shark Tank for lending. And what I decided to do was have all of the lenders tell everybody what they do, but now take it a step further. And then after they've told everybody what they can do, we would open it up to the audience for them to present loans live to all the lenders on the stage. And there's usually 15 to 20 at every event. And we've set up the ability for them to submit loans, and they literally compete for the business. We have competitors up there. There's always a overlap amongst a lot of lenders. And what I'll do is somebody will present a transaction. I'll bring it up to the panel. I'll say, okay, who can do it? 3 or 4 raise their hand. And then we go one by one and ask them, how do you do this? And they will actually tell you what their rates and terms and everything else are. So it's very fun. It's very entertaining. And more importantly, it's very informative. And many, many loans have been closed through the LoanMakers Forum over the years.
Absolutely. And, the informative, I think, is an understatement, because you're actually hearing from the loan officer, what they can and cannot do. And they may throw in a twist to make the deal more advantageous, not only for the borrower, but for the bank or the lending institution itself. So it's been a tremendous hit. And I think
one other thing I want to bring up, if you don't mind me, is the fact that, a lot of times people will call up a lender and say, what are your rates and terms? And they'll tell you a rate of, that sounds ridiculous, 3.5%, no points, blah, blah, blah. But when you tell them the actual loan, that one doesn't qualify under their best rate. And we put them all to the task. And, like some of these guys are up there, well, we can close in 2 weeks. Okay. Well, you can close in 2 weeks at 3.5%. Oh, no. We can close in 2 weeks at 8%, so there's the difference. And that's what we do. When we put them all together, you find out what they can really do. It's apples to apples at that point.
Yeah. Which, there's a huge difference sometimes. So, Arnie, you got a conference coming up next month. Why don't you tell the audience about that? Where is it? The dates, and what can they expect for the day?
Okay. So the event is going to be totally interactive. And it is November 16th at the San Jose DoubleTree Hilton in San Jose. And for those of you familiar with the San Jose area, if you're living in the area, you know where it is. If you're not, it's near the airport. And as a matter of fact, if you fly in for the day, and there are flights from Southern California up to San Jose that get you in as early as 7:45 a.m., you get into the airport, and there's a free shuttle from the airport to the hotel, and it's less than a mile away. At the event, we will have again, as I said, it's very interactive. We will have a keynote that's going to be talking about, in today's economy, how to develop business in commercial real estate, dealing with all the issues right now with the real estate industry, the economy, and nobody wants to do so. We've got a really good keynote in James Watson, who's going to deliver that early on. CoStar is going to do their annual forecast of what's happening in the Bay Area, throughout California, and they'll even touch on the nation. Then we do something new called Focus Networking. And I know, Craig, that's one of the bullet points we'll talk about in a little while, but for the most part, it's a different way to network. Then we have our LoanMakers Forum, and then we have the Deal Savers. So I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail if you'd like, Craig. You want me to do it now, or you want to?
Let's talk about the focus networking now, since you brought it up. That's a great idea. That's exactly where I was going to go. So,
well, focus networking at a lot of conferences, they do breakout sessions, and we've done it in the past. And we found that breakout sessions sometimes and usually we have 3 of them. And you'll have one of the breakout sessions, we'll have, let's say, 50% of the audience. The second breakout session, you'll have maybe 20% of the audience. Third breakout session, you'll have maybe 5 people in there. And then all the rest of the people are hanging around the exhibit hall. So it's really not an effective use of time. So what we decided to do was, instead of having breakout sessions on multifamily lending, investment property, and owner user, we're splitting the entire attendees into 3 separate groups in the ballroom. And all of the exhibitors come from outside of their exhibit tables, and we're all there. It's almost like a cocktail party without cocktails. We're all sitting in different groups, and we're talking about multifamily, or we're talking about investment property, or we're talking about owner user. And you can go from group to group. So we do that in 45 minutes. It's a great way to network, and you're pinpointing on your interests. So we did that for the first time down in Southern California. It worked out really well. We touched on it in San Diego, and we expect it to be a real big part of our San Jose event.
Absolutely. I mean, it worked both in LA and San Diego, and it's a great update to an already outstanding conference.
Thank you.
So that's part of the interactive. You want to touch a little bit more on some more of the interaction?
Well, of course, the LoanMakers Forum is very interactive. We talked about before, but then we have another session. And I'm all about getting everybody involved, not giving a lecture to the audience. I mean, you go to many events, you have panels up there, they're telling you information, but you're not interacting. So what we decided to do, instead of doing something like risk management or due diligence, because sometimes that's boring, hearing about what an appraisal goes into an appraisal or what the environmental issues are, we put together something called the Deal Savers. And what's interesting about this is it's not limited to lending. A lot of times you have a commercial real estate transaction or a deal that needs to close. And it needs to close, but it might have a problem. There might be an environmental issue. There might be a timing issue. There might be a title issue. There might be an insurance issue. Something's going to come up to keep you from closing that transaction. Could be an all-cash deal. Might have something to do with the lender. Who knows? What we did was we put a panel together of experts. We have a brokerage company. We have an underwriting company. We have title escrow, appraisal, environmental, insurance. They all will be up there on the stage. They will tell you recent transactions that were closed, if not for them. And of course, a brokerage, of course, you need somebody up there from brokerage. Right. They will tell you about a recent transaction that just closed, if not for what they did to get the transaction closed. And the rest of the panel will come in and talk to them on how they would have helped, or how they can help, because there might be transactions that are active right now that they need help. And then we open it up again to the audience to present any transaction they're having a hard time with. Could be any issue. Right. You have experts up there in the insurance, in the underwriting, in the environmental, appraisal, title escrow, and brokerage These are key people in their fields that will actually help you through getting that transaction closed. So something new.
And they've also, the vast majority of them have the power to make that decision once they hear the story. What's
Exactly.
going on? Why did this happen? I mean, you and I have had countless phone calls where something has shown up on the title report.
Exactly.
There's a deed of trust from 1960 or 70 something that never got
tax lien or something. Yes.
And you look at mechanics liens and everything else, and every time we go into a financial dumpster fire, mechanics liens are always the first thing that spring up, and you've got a lot of broken construction projects. So it's really critical to have the people on that panel that can make those decisions and get your deal closed. And closing on time is kind of critical right now, wouldn't you say?
Without a doubt, or even closing at all. And that's why when we start this session, they tell you a recent transaction that started going south and how they handled it. So these are experienced people that know how to handle tough situations.
Absolutely. Now, I know all your lenders are your favorites. Okay. It's like picking your favorite child. Okay. Sure. I get that. But you've got a diversity of lenders that are making loans. They are closing transactions. Could you give our audience a little bit of the flavor of some of your lenders at your conference in San Jose, please?
Yeah. I mean, we have lenders that cover all aspects of commercial real estate lending, from private money all the way up to insurance company and Wall Street money. So they'll handle loans as low as $50,000 up to $100 million. So multifamily, owner user, SBA, investment property, single family investment property, 2 to 4 units. They handle it all. So I don't have a favorite lender. It depends on what lender is going to be geared towards that particular transaction. And that's why this LoanMakers Forum works, because every one of them covers some aspect of the business. And it flows very well, and there's a lender there for everything. Some of the lenders are, we have some major banks in there. We have some companies that you've heard of. We have a lot of companies that you've never heard of. And to be honest with you, most people, the companies you've heard of, you're going to go to them first. You're not going to come to a conference like this to find out about companies that you already know. You're going to come to a conference like this to find out about companies you've never heard of. And they're the ones that are going to get your transactions closed that you never thought can be done. And the interesting thing about the LoanMakers Forum is where you think you know what one bank can do, you find out that another bank can do it even better. And a perfect example, many years ago, we had, one of the biggest multifamily banks in the country, and they've been at our conferences for many years, and I'm not going to say who they are, it doesn't matter. But they quoted a transaction, and they quoted it at a really good rate. However, there were going to be a very high, low leverage. The loan to value was going to be no more than 60 to 65%, but their rate was astounding. Let's just say the rate was at 3%. But property was not exactly in the best area of town. Then we had a lender in there that was an urban lender that would lend in these tough areas, but they were geared to just doing that type of diverse lending. They would do that loan, same loan, 75% loan to value, and where this big, white elephant in the room was doing it at 3, they were going to go 3.25. So the rate wasn't that far different, but you're getting 75% versus 60 to 65%.
I'd pay a quarter point for that. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the bottom line is, what is the borrower looking for? Is he looking for rate, or is he looking for leverage? Right. Most people would rather hold on to the cash and pay a little bit higher, especially since a lot of the difference in the interest rate comes off your tax returns anyways, a write-off. So, it's not going to affect your cash flow all that much.
Well, that and the other thing I think to point out, which is pretty obvious, is there isn't an owner, an operator, a broker that isn't looking for additional sources of capital.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that is a hallmark with you and with the California Lodging Investment Conference. We get certain lenders in that
Yeah.
you may know and others that you don't, but you should get to know them. And if you establish that relationship with them, you're able to get some pretty nice deals. So,
Yeah. I mean, look, nothing against the lenders everybody knows,
right,
but
right.
what I like about the group we have, most of them are they've never heard of. Okay. Or these are the lenders that are active and always finding different ways to get a transaction done, rather than, again, the staunch, big company that everybody's heard of. You don't need a conference like this for that. You know who they are.
Absolutely. All right, Arnie, are you ready to play the world famous Click Connect lightning round?
Oh, go for it. I'm ready.
Okay. 2 minutes. Producer Danny's putting 2 minutes on the clock. Word association. First thing that pops into your head starting now.
Okay.
Interest rates.
Interest rates going up.
Capital markets.
Tough.
Refis.
On hold.
Inflation.
I think that says it all. Yeah.
Los Angeles mayor's race.
Tough choice. I mean, they're two different diverse people.
Tequila or Captain Morgan?
Well, I'm a rum guy.
Favorite conference hotel?
Okay. JW Marriott in Anaheim.
Good answer.
Yeah, that, you and I both know about that one.
Yes, we do. Barefoot people on an airplane.
That
says it all right there. Favorite airline?
Favorite airline, I guess, would be Delta, because that's the one I travel on most.
Pizza.
Baroni's.
There you go. And you did that with 52 seconds left on the clock.
I played this before.
Yes, you have, my friend. Okay, last question, Arnie, then we're going to cut you loose. Okay?
Sure.
What one thing do you want the audience to know about your conference coming up in San Jose?
Interactive. It is a very interactive event. It's fun. We have great food, by the way, too. We serve you breakfast, lunch, and we have a happy hour cocktail party where so you're going to get fed very well for the day. But it's a very interactive conference. Come there to get business done. There's plenty of networking. There's over 4 hours of networking, and we definitely do a lot of networking. But even when you're in the event, there's networking going on. You're communicating with all of the people on the stage all of the time. It's not like they're just telling you what that you want to hear, and then we open it up for Q&A. You're involved with them throughout the whole event, and there's plenty of time for Q&A, and there's plenty of time to get to know everybody, whether they're on stage or in the exhibit hall. So it's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing it, and we hope we see a lot of people there.
Absolutely. I'll be there. So I'm going to be doing some Click vlogs from the event. So find me. I'll interview you. We'll talk about the conference, and we'll make everybody jealous who didn't make it. Okay.
That's right. And you know what? I mean, I think we have a Click discount code for anybody that wants to register.
We do. You want to give it to them?
Well, you just go to CRELC.com.
Yep.
That's Commercial Real Estate Lending Conference, CRELC.com. Go to the Northern California event. You'll see the registration at the bottom, and the promo code, just type in CLIC, click, and you will get a sizable discount.
There you go. Arnie, shameless plug, part 2. How do people get a hold of you?
People get a hold of me. You can call me at 818-532-7660. My email address is Arnie, ARNIE, at allstargroup.com. And you could go into any one of our websites, allstargroup.com, allstargroupevents.com. CRELC.com, or even LoanMakersForum.com. Any one of them will work. And through allstargroup.com, it gives you access to every one of the other ones as well.
Nice. Well, my friend, my brother from another mother, thank
Yes.
you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Craig. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you soon.
You got it. Take care, Arnie.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, but we also want to thank our production partners, Red Roof Franchising and Chicago Title National Commercial Services Group, California. As you just heard from Arnie, and he is a very, very prolific lender besides the conference guy for commercial real estate. You got to get those deals closed on time. Chicago Title can help you do that. They've got a great team over there. Let them know that producer Danny and I sent you, and they'll be glad to help you. Looking for a new brand? Call our friends at Red Roof. Their franchising team is all over the country, and they can help you. They've got a boutique soft brand. They've got an extended stay brand. They've got 2 economy brands. Let them, help you. Great alternative. So let the good people over at Red Roof know that producer Danny and I sent you there as well. They'd love to hear from you. And I thank you for joining us today. And please remember to subscribe and ring the bell on our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and the review. The episodes are all posted there, so we've got quite a social media presence. And look for me next month at the Commercial Real Estate Lending Conference in Northern California. Glenn Hausman and I have a new show, 3-Minute Thursdays. Can Glenn and I have a 3-minute conversation on one topic? We've done it once. We're going to try and do it 2 times in a row tomorrow. And I've also got a new little project called California Craig that's out there that you can find on social media platforms. So thank you all very much. And as I'm fond of saying, be kind, share your knowledge. Now go be amazing.